Neural control and coordination. As you know, the function of the organs or organ systems in our body must be coordinated to maintain homeostasis. Coordination is the process through which two or more organs interact and complement the function of one another. For example, when we do physical exercise, the energy demand is increased for maintaining an increased muscular activity. The supply of oxygen is also increased. The increased supply of oxygen necessitates an increase in the rate of respiration, heartbeat, and increased blood flow via blood vessels. When physical exercise is stopped, the activity of nerves, lungs, heart, and kidney gradually return to their normal condition. Thus, the function of muscles, lungs, heart, blood vessel, kidney, and other organs are coordinated while performing physical exercises. In our body, the neural system and the endocrine system jointly coordinates and integrate all the activities of the organ so that they function in a synchronized fashion. The neural system provides an organized network of point-to-point connection for a quick coordination. The endocrine system provides chemical integration through hormones. In this chapter, you will learn about the neural system of human mechanism of neural coordination like transmission of nerve pulse, impulse conduction across a synapse, and the physiology of reflex action. Neural system. The neural system of all animals is composed of highly specialized cells called neurons which can detect, receive and transmit different kinds of stimuli. The neural organization is very simple in lower invertebrates. For example, in Hydra it is composed of a network of neurons. The neural system is better organized in insects where a brain is present along with a number of ganglia and neural tissues. The vertebrates have a more developed neural system. Human neural system. The human neural system is divided into two parts. One, the central neural system CNS, two, the peripheral neural system PNS. The CNS includes the brain and the spinal cord and is the site of information processing and control. The PNS comprises of all the nerves of the body associated with the CNS, brain and spinal cord. The nerve fibers of the PNS are of two types: A. Afferent fibers, B. Efferent fibers. The afferent nerve fiber transmit impulses from tissues or organs to the CNS, and the efferent fibers transmit regulatory impulses from the CNS to the concerned peripheral tissues or organs. The PNS is divided into two divisions called somatic neural system and automatic neural system. The somatic neural system relays impulses from the CNS to the skeletal muscle, while the automatic neural system transmits impulse from CNS to the involuntary organs and smooth muscle of the body. The automatic neural system is further classified into sympathetic neural system and parasympathetic neural system. Visceral nerve system is the part of the peripheral nervous system that comprises the whole complex of the nerves, fibers, ganglia and plexuses, by which impulses travel from the central nervous system to the viscera and from the viscera to the central nervous system. Neuron as the structure and functional unit of the neural system. A neuron is a microscopic structure composed of three major parts, namely cell body, dendrites, and axons. The cell body contains cytoplasm with the typical cell organella and certain granular bodies called nucleus granule, short fiber which branch repeatedly and project out to the cell body also. Contain nucleus granules and are called dendrites. These fibers transmit impulses towards the cell body. The axon is a long fiber, the distal end of which is branched. Each branch transmits as a bulb-like structure called synaptic knob, which possesses synaptic vesicles containing chemical called neurotransmitter. The axon transmits nerve impulses away from the cell body to a synapse or to a neuromuscular junction. based on the number of action and dendrite. The neurons are divided into three types, that is multipolar with an action and two or more dendrites found in the cerebral cortex, bipolar with action and one dendrite found in the retina of eye, and unipolar cell body with one action only, found usually in the embryonic stage. There are two types of action, namely myelinated and non-myelinated. The myelinated nerve fibers are enveloped with Schwann cell, which form a myelin sheath around the action. The gap between two adjacent myelin sheaths are called knobs of Ranvier. Myelinated nerve fibers are found in spinal and cranial nerves. Unmyelinated nerve fiber is closed by a Schwann cell that does not form a myelin sheath around the action and is commonly found in autonomous and somatic neural system. Generation and conduction of nerve impulses. Neurons are excitable cells because their membranes are in a polarized state. Do you know why the membrane of a neuron is polarized? Different types of ion channels are present on the neural membrane. These ion channels are selectively permeable to different ions. When a neuron is not conducting any impulse, that is resting, the action membrane is comparatively more permeable to potassium ion and nearly impermeable to sodium ion. Similarly, the membrane is impermeable to negatively charged protein present in the exoplasm. Consequently, the exoplasm inside the axon contains high concentration of potassium ion and negatively charged protein and low concentration of sodium ion. In contrast, the fluid outside the axon contains a low concentration of potassium ion and a high concentration of sodium ion, and thus form a concentration gradient. This ionic gradient across the resting membrane are maintained by the active transport of ion by the sodium-potassium pump, which transport 3 sodium ion outward for 2 potassium ion in the cell into the cell. As a result, the outer surface of the action membrane possesses a positive charge, while its inner surface become negatively charged and therefore is polarized. The electrical potential difference as across the resting plasma membrane is called as the resting potential. You might be curious to know about the mechanism of generation of nerve impulse and its conduction along an action. When a stimulus is applied at a site on the polarized membrane, in the membrane at the site A become freely permeable to sodium ion. This leads to a rapid influx of sodium ion followed by the reversal of the polarity at that site. That is, the outer surface of the membrane become negatively charged and the inner side become positively charged. The polarity of the membrane at the site A is thus reversed and hence depolarized. The electrical potential differences across the plasma membrane at the site A is called the action potential, which is in fact termed as the nerve impulse. At site immediately ahead the action, site B membrane has a positive charge on the outer surface and a negatively charged on the inner surface. As a result, a current flows on the inner surface from side A to side B. On the outer surface, current flows from side B to side A to complete the circuit of current flow. Hence, the polarity at the site is reversed and an action potential is generated at site B. Thus, the impulse action potential generated at site A arrives at site B. The sequence is repeated along the length of the action and consequently the impulse is conducted. The rise in the stimulus induced permeability of sodium ion is extremely short-lived. It is quickly followed by a rise in permeability of potassium ion within a fraction of a second. Potassium ion diffuse outside the membrane and restored the resting potential of the membrane at the site of excitation, and the fiber becomes once more responsive to further stimulation. Transmission of impulses. A nerve impulse is transmitted from one neuron to another neuron through junction called synapses. A synapse is formed by the membrane of a presynaptic neuron and postsynaptic neuron, which may or may not be separated by a gap called synaptic cleft. There are two types of synapses, namely electrical synapses and chemical synapses. At electrical synapses, the membrane of pre and postsynaptic neurons are in very close proximity. Electrical current can flow directly from one neuron into the other across these synapses. Transmission of an impulse across electrical synapses is very similar to the impulse induction along a single axon. Impulse transmission across an electrical synapse is always faster than that across a chemical synapse. Electrical synapses are rare in our system. At a chemical synapse, the membrane of the pre and postsynaptic neurons are separated by a fluid filled space called synaptic cleft. Do you know how the presynaptic neuron transmit an impulse action potential across the synaptic cleft to the postsynaptic neuron? Chemical called neurotransmitter are involved in the transmission of impulses at these synapses. The action terminal contain vesicle filled with this neurotransmitter. When an impulse action potential arrives at action terminal, it is it stimulates the movement of the synaptic vesicle towards the membrane where they fuse with the plasma. Membrane and release their neurotransmitter in the synaptic cleft. The released neurotransmitter bind to their specific receptor present on the postsynaptic membrane. These bind open ion channels, allowing the entry of ion which can generate a new potential in the postsynaptic neuron. The new potential developed may be either excitatory or inhibitory. Central neural system. The brain is the central information processing organ of our body and acts as the command and control system. It controls the voluntary movement, balance of the body, functioning of the vital involuntary organs, that is lung, heart, kidney, etc. Thermoregulation, hunger and thirst, circadian rhythm of our body, activity of several endocrine glands and human behavior. It is also the site for processing of vision, hearing, speech, memory, intelligence, emotion, and thoughts. The human brain is well protected by the skull. Inside the skull, the brain is covered by cranial meninges consisting of an outer layer called dura mater, a very thin middle layer called arachidoid, and the inner layer which is in contact with the brain tissue called pia mater. The brain can be divided into three major parts: one forebrain, two midbrain, three hindbrain. Forebrain. The forebrain consists of cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Cerebrum forms the major part of the human brain. A deep cleft divides the cerebrum longitudinally into two halves, which are termed as the cleft left and right cerebral hemisphere. The hemispheres are connected by a tract nerve called corpus callosum. The layer of the cell which covers the cerebral hemisphere is called cerebral cortex and is thrown into prominent fold. The cerebral cortex is referred to as the grey matter due to its greyish appearance. The neuron cell bodies are concentrated here, giving the color. The cerebral cortex contains motor areas, sensory areas, and large regions that are neither clearly sensory nor motor in function. This region, called the association area, are responsible for complex functions like intersensory association, memory, and communication. Fibers of the tract are covered with the myelin sheath, which constitute the inner part of the cerebral hemisphere. They give an opaque white appearance to the layer and hence is called the white matter. The cerebrum wrapped around a structure called thalamus, which is major coordinating center for sensory and motor signaling. Another very important part of the brain is called hypothalamus. Lies at the base of the thalamus. The hypothalamus contains a number of centers which control body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. It also contains several groups of the neurosecretory cells which secrete hormones called hypothalamic hormones. The inner part of the cerebral hemisphere and a group of associated deep structure like amygdala, hippocampus, etc. forms a complex structure called the limbic lobe of or limbic system along with the hypothalamus. It is involved in the regulation of sexual behavior, expression of emotion, reaction, etc., excitement, pleasure, rage, and fear, and motivation. Midbrain. The midbrain is located between the thalamus and hypothalamus of the forebrain and pons of the hindbrain. A canal called cerebral aqueduct passes through the midbrain. The dorsal portion of the midbrain consists mainly of four round swelling lobes called corpora quadrigemmina. Hindbrain. The hindbrain comprises pons, cerebellum, and medulla, also called the medulla oblongata. Pons consist of fiber tracts that interconnect different regions of the midbrain. Cerebellum has a very convoluted surface in order to provide the additional space for many more neurons. The medulla of the brain is connected to spinal cord. The medulla contains center which control respiration, cardiovascular reflexes, and gastric secretion. Three major regions make up the brainstem: midbrain, pons, and medullary oblongata. Brainstem form the connection between the brain and the spinal cord. Reflex action and reflex arc. You must have experienced a sudden withdrawal of a body part which comes in contact with objects that are extremely hot, cold, pointed, or animals that are scary or poisonous. The entire process of response to a peripheral nervous stimulation that occurs involuntarily, that is without consciousness, effort, or thought, and requires the involvement of a part of the central nervous system is called a reflex action. The reflex pathway comprises at least one afferent neuron receptor and one efferent effector or exciter neuron appropriately arranged in a series. The afferent neuron receives signal from a sensory organ and transmit the impulse via a dorsal nerve roots into the CNS at the level of spinal cord. The afferent neuron then carries signal from CNS to the effector. The stimulus and response thus form a reflex arc as shown below in the knee-jerk reaction. You should carefully study figure to understand the mechanism of knee-jerk reflex. Sensory reception and processing. Have you ever thought how do you feel the climate change in the environment? How do you see an object and its color? How do you hear a sound? The sensory organ detect all types of changes in the environment and send appropriate signal to CNS where all the inputs are processed and analyzed. Signal are then sent to different parts, center or of the brain. This is how you can sense changes in the environment. Sense organ. We smell things by our nose, taste by tongue, hear by eye, hear and see object by eyes. The nose contain mucus-coated receptor which are specialized for receiving the sense of smell and called olfactory receptor. These are made up of olfactory epithelium that consists of three kinds of cells. The neuron of the olfactory epithelium extend from the outside environment directly into a pair of broad bean-sized organs called olfactory bulb, which are extension of the brain limbic system. Both nose and tongue detect dissolved chemical. The chemical sense of gustation, taste, and olfactory smell are functionally similar and interrelated. The tongue detects taste through taste bud containing gustatory receptors. With each taste of food or sip of drink, the brain integrates the different inputs from the taste buds and a complex flavor is perceived. In the following section, you will be introduced to structure and function of the eye, sensory organ for vision, and ear, sensory organ for hearing. Eye. Our paired eye are located in the socket of the skull called orbit. A brief account of structure and function of the human eye is given in the following section. Parts of an eye. The adult human eyeball is nearly spherical structure. The wall of the eyeball is composed of three layers. The external layer is composed of a dense connective tissue and is called the sclera. The anterior portion of this layer is called cornea. The middle layer, choroid, contains many blood vessels and look bluish in color. The choroid layer is thin over the posterior two-thirds of the eyeball, but it becomes thick in the interior part to form the ciliary body. The ciliary body itself continues forward to form a pigmented and opaque structure called the iris, which is the visible colored portion of the eye. The eyeball contains a transparent crystalline lens which is held in place by ligaments attached to the ciliary body. In front of the lens, the aperture surrounded by the iris is called the pupil. The diameter of pupil is regulated by the muscle fiber of iris. The inner layer is the retina and it contains three layers of neural cells from inside to outside: ganglion cell, bipolar cell, and photoreceptor cells. There are two types of photoreceptor cells, namely rods and cones. These cells contain the light-sensitive protein called the photopigment. The daylight phototropic vision and color vision are function of cones, and the twilight scotopic vision is the function of the rod. The rod contains a purplish red protein called the rhodopsin or visual purple, which contains a derivative of vitamin A. In the human eye, there are three types of cones which possess their own characteristics: photopigment that respond to red, green, and blue lights. The sensation of different colors are produced by various combinations of these cones and their photopigment. When these cones are stimulated equally, a sensation of white light is produced. The optic nerve leaves the eye and the retinal blood vessel enter it at a point medial to and slightly above the posterior pole of the eyeball. Photoreceptor cells are not present in that region and hence it is called the blind spot. At the posterior pole of the eye lateral to the blind spot, there is a yellowish pigmented spot called macula lutea with a central pit called the fovea. The fovea is a thinned out portion of the retina where only the cones are densely packed. It is the point where the visual acuity resolution is the greatest. The space between the cornea and the lens is called the aqueous chamber. and contain a thin watery fluid called aqueous humor. The space between the lens and the retina is called vitreous chamber and is filled with a transparent gel called vitreous humor. Mechanism of vision. The light rays in visible wavelength focused on the retina through the cornea and lens generate potential impulses in the rod and cone. As mentioned earlier, the photosensitive compound photopigment in the human eye is composed of opsin, a protein, and a retinal and aldehyde of vitamin A. Light-induced dissociation of the retinal from opsin resulting in change in the structure of the osmin. This causes membrane permeability changes. As a result, potential differences are generated in the photoreceptor cell. These produce a signal that generates action potential in the ganglion cell through the bipolar cells. These action potential impulses are transmitted by the optic nerve to the visual cortex area of the brain where the neural impulses are analyzed and the image formed on the retina is recognized based on earlier memory and experience. The ear. The ear performs two sensory functions, hearing and maintenance of body balance. Anatomically, the ear can be divided into three major sections called outer ear, the middle ear and the inner ear. The outer ear consists of pinna and external auditory meatus canal. The pinna collects the vibration in the ear which produce sound. The external auditory meatus lead inward and extend up to tympanic membrane, the eardrum. There are very fine hairs and wax secreting gland in the skin of the pinna and the meatus. The tympanic membrane is composed of connective tissue covered with skin outside and with mucous membrane inside. The middle ear contains three ossicles called malleus, incus, and stapes, which are attached to one another in chain-like fashion. The malleus is attached to the tympanic membrane and the stapes is attached to oval window of the cochlea. The ear ossicles increase the efficiency of transmission of sound wave to the inner ear and Stretching tube connect the middle ear cavity with the pharynx. The stretching tube helps in equalizing the pressure on the either side of the eardrum. The fluid-filled inner ear called labyrinth consists of two parts, the bony and the membranous labyrinth. The bony labyrinth is a series of channels. Inside this channel lies the membranous labyrinth which is surrounded by the fluid called perillin. The membranous labyrinth is filled with a fluid called endolymph. The coiled portion of the labyrinth is called cochlea. The membrane constituting cochlea, the resinous and bacillars divide the surrounding perillin filled bony labyrinth into an upper scala vestibule and a lower scala tympani. The space within cochlea called scala media is filled with endolymph. At the base of the cochlea, the scala vestibule ends at the oval window, while the scala tympani terminates at the round window which opens to middle ear. The organ of Corti is a structure located on the basilar membrane which contains hair cells that act as auditory receptors. The hair cells are present in rows on internal side of the organ of Corti. The basal end of the hair cell is in close contact with the afferent nerve fibers. A large number of processes called stereocilia are projected from the apical part of each hair cell. Above the row of hair cell is a thin elastic membrane called tectorial membrane. The inner ear also contains a complex system called vestibular apparatus located above the cochlea. The vestibular apparatus is composed of three semicircular channels and otolith. Macula is the sensory part of the saccule and utricle. Each semicircular canal lies in a different plane at right angle to each other. The membranous canals are suspended in the perilymph of the bony canal. The base of the canal is swollen and is called ampulla, which contains a projecting ridge called crestia ampullaris, which has hair cells. The saccule and utricle contain a projecting ridge called macula. The crista and macula are the specific receptor of the vestibular apparatus responsible for maintenance of balance of the body and posture. Mechanism of hearing. How does ear convert sound wave into neural impulse, which are senses and processed by the brain, enabling us to recognize a sound? The external ear receives sound wave and directs them to the eardrum. The eardrum vibrates in response to the sound wave, and these vibrations are transmitted through the ear ossicle malleus interstices to the oval window. The vibrations are passed through the oval window on the fluid of the cochlea, where they generate waves in the lymph. The waves in the lymph induce a ripple in the basilar membrane. This movement of basilar membrane bend the hair cell, pressing them against the tectorial membrane. As a result, nerve impulses are generated in the associated afferent neuron. These impulses are transmitted by the afferent fibers via auditory nerves to the auditory cortex of the brain, where the impulses are analyzed and the sound is